We doing video? Is that the way we're doing this, Ben?
Well, man, this is up to you. How brave are you?
I'm good. Sure. What's the plan? Are you just wanting to talk like an interview style? Are you planning on making this a YouTube video? What's the rundown? Let me know what's up.
Oh, before you like turn on your video camera, you want to know what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly, man. I gotta be careful. Unless you want to talk face to face, unless you need this beautiful mug.
Oh, look at that.
Yep.
Wow, you really are a bass Chalkman.
Hey, one of them has a baton. It's a public campus.
It doesn't fucking matter. You need consent to film people.
People aren't
You can't do
public
this.
to be filmed.
I don't know what my plan is. You do have a story to tell that is pertinent to my to the story that I'm trying to tell.
That's fair enough.
If you want to just chat, we can just chat.
Oh yeah, I'd rather do just audio, just because I don't know. It's kind of weird with all the stuff that happened out at Evergreen to have like a video of me. I feel oddly uncomfortable showing. It's a weird existential thing, I guess, in
Really?
regards to that.
So
It's simply because with the whole doxing thing, I guess, was pretty rough when that hit. So it's still kind of like a fear to show video feed, I guess. It's super weird. I can't put my finger on it.
So you were doxxed yourself, like people found you.
Yeah, because it was because before the whole thing happened, I had friends and people that were the mob. Obviously, I thought I had high regards to them. I knew that they were these social justice types, you know.
Yeah.
But you think they'd have the common courtesy to, you know, if you're friends with them, to not come back and attack your parents and stuff like that and go after your family on a personal level. And especially after that happens, you'd expect the Evergreen campus itself to have a issue with, you know, getting doxxed and your parents getting attacked and you essentially getting slandered. It's wild.
So you were attacked by Evergreen students then, after the chalking incident.
Oh yeah, you have extra video of me. You just can't see me. I don't know if you know that was me at Red Square. It's one of the. Well, you do know it was me. I was one of the persons at Red Square when that happened.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. After that, my mom got basically contacted on a business. I have a very good idea of who gave that personal information away because, you know, it's super weird. Back in the day, you think when you met someone and you started talking to them, that at least if you end on bad terms, that at least have the common courtesy not to, you know, give away personal information you gave to them in a standard conversation. But yeah, I was sent. I don't know. I think the way I'd put it was smearing evidence. Essentially, what happened was it was a email sent to one of my mother's business emails. And by a username by the name of Damn Don't Dox Me, and essentially it was like, oh god, it said some pretty nasty stuff. It said like I was making fun of women being abused or some wild accusation like that. Of course, baseless, because I mean you got to keep that pattern going at least. But it was like I'm calling women. Nolan's calling women horse to their faces and making fun of people getting just like over the top, like
what?
You know, yeah, like just really. You know, I guess it takes some courage to do a bass Chalkman-like stunt, but I mean, I wasn't going around just calling women horses. It was easy to dismiss, and like my parents knew that.
Okay, yeah.
But even when you told the college, when I told the college, they were completely apathetic towards me in every way. It was rather ridiculous.
Really? Like you spoke to the dean or your
I spoke to an academic advisor, and did you get my email where I was talking about at Red Square, there was actually a physical altercation between me and I think 3 people because I was being grabbed. I was attacked again by Lawrence. Yeah. And that time I just had it. I have some restraint, but it gets old really quick in that scenario. And I mean, it was predictable what would happen next. I said they were going to use the identity thing against me because, I mean, it's a slippery slope with them. I try not to make things about race, but it's hard to be like, they're not, oh, this isn't about race when you're getting attacked for your identity, you know, because they straight up, one of the reasons they told me I was getting attacked was, in the video, you think you're not safe being a white male? And I just, there was something crazy about that scenario to me. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent because I have to, like, rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
But how do you, okay, if you're just threatening, it's one thing, but how do you question a person's safety when you're pulling out a weapon to use against them? Like, what? It's just, it's so.
You think you're safe as a white male on this campus?
Yeah, it's like, as my friend's getting attacked, you know, in front of me, as I've already been attacked, you know, had property of mine damaged, and it's like, at least, okay. I mean, if you're gonna go all in, if you're gonna do this, like, just own it. You've already come this far. Why are you questioning it? Just know what you're doing. And it's like, God, it turned into a daycare real quick. But yes, I use self-defense. And long story short, the wording in the responses, my self-defense was. It was over the top or unnecessary. There was some really weird, like, descriptor of how I defended myself that I went beyond the point of necessary self-defense, or just like.
But you were being attacked.
Yeah, some vague terminology, so you can't really, like, dismiss it, or, you know, it's like, what is over the top self-defense? You guys outnumbered us, and you brought weapons, and you're still defending this.
Yeah. Huh.
It's wild, man.
So, okay, so here's the ground rules. We're just going to record. I'm going to talk. We're going to do interview style. And then in the future, when I get around to it, I'll edit this down and I will run this by you.
Oh, yeah. I'll honestly, like, I honestly am probably fine with showing my face and stuff like that. It's just like, it's a weird over the response after getting doxxed. It's kind of one of those hard things where you're just always kind of like on edge a little bit about it.
No, a lot of people have trauma from what happened in the spring.
Yeah, and it's like, it's less about just me being afraid, because it's easy to dismiss these people. They're lunatics and they can't really do much now, you know, in regards to me personally. Yeah. But I don't want to have to go through the whole freaking thing where my parents are on edge and stuff like that. Because it's like, they made it really personal. And it's a soft spot for me, because it's like, I find the way that Evergreen as an establishment handled that completely disturbing. It's like cult behavior, you know, it creeps me out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about two things then. I want to talk about, like, just your Evergreen career, and then I want to talk about, like, what started you chalking? Like, what prompted you to do that? Because you knew it was incendiary, right? You knew you were poking a button.
I knew it would make him a little upset. That is correct.
Yeah, it was like it was a very obscure version of it's okay to be white. It was like the proto "it's okay to be white" kind of poster, in a way.
I wouldn't even be I don't think it's even fair to put it in the same light as "it's okay to be white" simply because it was apolitical. I just knew it would make him mad because it's something that just completely dismisses everything. It had nothing to do with race and everything about a rock band from the 90s that everyone has touchy feelings about, obviously.
It's the Nickelback of 1996.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about why you chose Evergreen and what you were doing and what you were getting out of the place before everything happened.
Okay, let's think. When I first got to Evergreen, simply put, I really liked the way Evergreen laid out its system. I like the way you could kind of pinpoint and zone in on your interests. That I went there not for the liberal portion, but the arts portion, because I'm a learning musician. Okay. And this last couple of months, I've been practicing nothing but like music theory and electronic music production. And so before that, I thought Evergreen, I was recommended by one of the staff members, I can't remember exactly who at this current time, to kind of be able to explore that elective, that unique atmosphere that Evergreen provides in regards to
just full immersion.
Yeah, basically. So I had just like a couple of interests. I mean, theater was always cool. I mean, I was a theater geek growing up, hence the incentrism and like just the wild reaction I had in regards. I think a chalking would be really entertaining. It was all part of life's great play, man.
Yeah, right.
It was all part of life's great play. And what else? I had some interest in journalism because I mean, you can kind of merge those skills together. You can utilize both, right? Because it's writing. Yeah. I mean, there's a degree of writing across all the boards. So I did like a music production course where it was just like beat making. It was essentially assign your own program. And so I was just like, I'm going to take a quarter and just make a bunch of hip hop beats. And that sounds super cool. Mm-hmm. And I took a theater class, it was theater and coming of age. And it was basically just like a high school level theater class. But I mean, hey, it's you go head first and you see what you find within those courseworks.
Yeah.
What else? And I journalism class. So I was really trying to just take advantage of that system.
Okay.
But the social atmosphere was so weird.
Was last year your first year, or
Yes. I was a freshman. And
okay.
Evergreen was my freshman year, and that was I could say it was definitely not like keg stands and frat parties. It was quite the opposite. It was totalitarianism and proper pronouns.
So you really felt that coming onto campus, that you were entering into somewhat of an insular kind of particular way of viewing the world.
I had a feeling there were going to be interesting characters that I wouldn't agree with.
Okay.
And I had a feeling there was going to be somewhat of a social justice theme. However, I didn't think it would be as intoxicating as it turned out to be.
Toxic or intoxicating?
Intoxicating. Intoxicating. Not toxic. No, it was.
So what do you mean by intoxicating? You got drunk off the social justice?
It's just the atmosphere. It makes you a little queasy from how much social justice stuff is thrown down your liver and you're left to process. All of us, I've never heard so many multisyllabic rhetoric words come out of nowhere in such a convoluted order. I was not expecting that. I felt like I was 30 whiskey shots in behind the wheel most of the time when I was having a conversation. Just like, yeah.
So you were there. You were there at Convocation when R and Lawrence protested. Were you at that event?
Oh yeah, that was an experience.
Really?
That was something I have not seen before.
What was it like?
Well, I'm a connoisseur of cringe compilations, so it's that's like you hear all these like. Are you a gamer yourself? Are you a gamer?
Yeah,
I game. Ever played a role playing like Borderlands? You know how you always hear words of like the big bad, and then all of a sudden he just comes out at the end, and like you're like, whoa, this is the enemy I've been hearing about all along. I thought there was going to be like an orchestral piece playing in the background, and we were going to have to bring out fire spells to quell the rage. I was not expecting that. That guy. But
you saw the response to that by the administration, by the faculty, and that was a very graphic demonstration of like how we respond to protest at Evergreen. And
you wouldn't, even on Live Leak, you wouldn't see a spine cave in that quickly. They caved pretty fast. That was wild. I don't know.
And that set up the whole year. I mean, that kind of frames the whole year up to the protest, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't even know how to process that really, because it all just seemed like, I don't know. I hadn't known enough about really Evergreen even at that point to really have like a reaction other than this is really seems unnecessary. I mean, if you're not, let's be honest, if you're not going to survive at Evergreen, good luck living in. It's like a containment zone at this point. It's I don't know what to tell you, Benjamin. It's it left me speechless, and not in a good way. Just it seemed so unprofessional, and it's like you have these people playing identity politics, and they want more people to come to their side. Yeah. But they're so inflammatory to the people they're trying to get on their side.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what. If you could be honest, you don't care about ending racism. That's not what you're there to do. You're there to subjugate people to your own brand of like fucked up way of viewing the world. And
I was in class with those guys. Yeah.
Oh, they were
over the top.
Piece of work.
Yeah,
very fun.
I didn't take a class with Jamil, but R and Lawrence, I was in there in the room with them. Were you around on campus for after Trump got elected?
Oh yeah, it became a water park for 24 hours. There were so many tears. That was wild to see. I mean, I'm not like a Trump supporter or anything like that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you boys. I'm 20. I'm just trying to figure out my own thing. I'm trying to advance my own self before I get back into a political sphere.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take a political scientist to analyze that situation and be very confused about how the way 19-year-olds to 24-year-olds handle their emotions. It's
well, let alone the teachers, but yeah. So you were on campus. You felt what it was like to be on campus at Evergreen after Trump got elected.
It was like a low for me too, simply because it's like some of the people at the time you care about, because before the whole Chalkman thing, it's like, look, I don't necessarily agree with all your political views. I'd prefer you to not take this total, this very iron-fisted way of viewing the world and very hard to follow view of identity. But I respect you as a person. I'm empathetic to the fact that you're upset, but I don't think crying and I don't agree with why you're crying. I wasn't crying. It was just super wild because you're empathetic for the people you care about.
Yeah, okay.
And you don't understand the way they're going to take it to extremes later on.
Yeah, and you're building connections. This is your first year of college. You're building connections. You're getting rooted with everybody.
Yeah, and I just had, and the empathetic part of me is like, I had higher hopes for some of the people I was making friends with that they would not turn. I wouldn't have associated with them if I knew they were capable of holding an entire campus hostage.
Well, do you think that the people were capable of that, or do you think that maybe they were caught up in something that was greater than them and that they lost themselves into this thing? Or do you think that they were already headed in that direction? The people that you knew personally.
Well, I didn't think they were capable about it initially. When I first met them, I didn't get that analysis about them. They definitely got caught up in something, but it's hard to detach the whole capable aspect from the fact that they just held a campus hostage and basically put the president on a PP schedule. That's a hard that's a hard. I gave them too much credit.
Were you around during the whole Chiave build up to the protests? Did you hear the rumbles?
I heard a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Knowing Evergreen students at that point, I was really skeptical. I was really, really skeptical about just how racist this Chiave figure was, and especially becoming a figure such as the base Chalkman, you kind of understand. Well, he probably was a pretty tame guy, and these guys have like a trigger finger for this kind of stuff. They go all in with their magazines once like a little. I don't even really know the whole context of the Chiave story, to be honest. I know there was something about a Facebook post, but I don't want to get too deep into it.
Yeah,
I'm guessing from what I've heard, it was another thing that Evergreeners managed to, who would have expected blown completely out of proportion and shifted it to have some projective point that the mob had already cooked up. I'm
trying to figure out. I'm trying to contextualize your grand transformation into Chalkman. Like, so there's a build up to the protest, and I want to know what previewed that transformation? What caused you to do that? And like, what were you seeing before you decided to start championing Limp Bizkit on the walls of the Sun 2 building? Were you in class with people? Like, were you feeling like that people were ridiculous and you wanted to counter that, or were you pissed off, or like what was going on before like you wanted to do that?
Here it is. Okay. When I started hearing the whole cooked up thing with Brett Weinstein, that's easily the straw that broke the camel's back.
Okay.
You know, it's just you want to, like I was saying this whole time, you want to give your associates, your classmates, some kind of like, they couldn't, credibility that they would somehow, even though they have a pretty, what would be the word, a sensitive worldview, you'd expect them to have the common courtesy to at least engage in an actual dialogue with the professor.
Okay.
Rather than think it's acceptable to all of a sudden hold the college hostage.
Okay.
And get school canceled for consecutive days, man.
So you saw the footage. When did you see the footage of Weinstein? Then I'm assuming that you saw the footage of Weinstein before the.
Yes, it was before the Chalkman incident. It was
yeah.
I can't remember the exact dates. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
Just because I don't
have
that all memorized in my head.
Yeah.
But I definitely saw the footage in the hallway and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing my friends in that crowd. Friends.
Okay.
In that crowd. And I just remember thinking in my head, you just fucked this up for everybody.
Really?
You just, what I mean by that is not only did you fuck with Brett Weinstein, a man that is so clearly innocent, you just put, this is like cannon fodder on YouTube. This is what people want. This is what people want to see. You just smeared Evergreen.
Yeah.
And now no amount of detoxification, no amount of system cleansing will ever wipe this blemish off the face of Evergreen.
And you saw that right away.
Yeah, you just turned this into a pus bucket in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
You just you destroyed everything. And I mean, just see what there was some truth to that prediction, because once something like that happens, it doesn't surprise you that enrollment's dropped. What is it, like 20%?
Yeah, 19 technically.
It's 19 technically.
Yeah.
Technically, I'll give it the burden of the extra one, the subtraction of 1% for George Bridges' sake. He gets the 1% removed for George Bridges.
He kind of is the 1%, making
R.I.P.
$300,000 a year. So
every point counts. Come on.
Yeah.
Point counts.
So before you were the Chalkman, before you started doing that, like, so that was the week after the protest then? So like there's the 23rd with the Weinstein. Were you around for when the library building was taken over? You lived on campus?
I lived on campus.
Okay.
I was not, by around, do you mean just like there? Because I was not in the area where it was taken over.
Okay.
I was on campus, but I had no idea.
You didn't know. Okay.
It was kind of like a recovering thing. Like, I didn't hear about it. I wasn't a first responder by any means in regards to the whole Weinstein thing. I didn't know. I was kind of out of the loop.
Okay.
When it first happened, probably because holding an entire campus doesn't, for some reason, oddly enough, doesn't hold my interest. But I remember, I wasn't there.
And then the college campus was shut down for 1 or 2 days, and then that's when you started to like participate.
That's when I bought a box of chalk and said it'd be really funny if I wrote Fred Durst related messages on a wall that's been graffitied with anti-police and anti-Weinstein message.
And a few swastikas here and there. Okay, so when you thought of this idea, I want to check your privilege. So did you have a red Solo cup and a ping pong ball when this came to you? Is that when it came to you, like this Chalkman incident, or?
That sounds, I mean, I wish it was that poetic, but I can't say I had a red Solo cup or ping pong ball. I just thought, for some reason, I thought there'd be some comedic aspect to say.
Okay.
I had a friend, my cameraman, Andrew.
AC.
Yeah, AC, correct. AC, no, AC. And I remember just after seeing this footage, leaning over to him and I bet it'd be really funny if we made it look like Limp Bizkit fans could incite violence simply for their Limp Bizkit opinion alone. Spoiler alert, I'm not actually a Limp Bizkit fan.
No, don't ruin it.
I ruined it. I ruined the lore. I ruined the lore of Evergreen. I thought it would be funny, though, to make it look like, the best rap rock band of the 90s.
Huh?
It's their opinion. If you have a positive opinion, that induces violence. That was the comedic aspect to it, because it felt like
total absurdist.
When you see a death squad approaching you, you don't think a peaceful dialogue is what you want, but the comedic, the humorous aspect of it. They can't take a joke. That's
and they
gonna
can't
be their
take the joke away from you either.
Yeah,
that will always be with you.
The Limp Bizkit joke, or what do you mean?
Any joke, like when you see the death mob approaching to kill you for your joke, like they can take your life away, but they cannot take that joke away. Like that.
Oh no, that joke is mine forever.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the phrase? It's like laughter corrects morals or something like that.
I haven't heard that,
it's like, huh?
I haven't heard that, but
continue. Like a Latin phrase or something like that. Some dead language invented it. I think there's some truth to that laughter corrects morals. I mean, when you can't have a peaceful discussion, there's too much of a shield of sensitivity, and violence is so quick.
Yeah.
A good joke, a good punchline will always be an armor-piercing round.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two events. Well, there's three events that I know that there's footage of. There's one with you guys in the SEM2 building where Lawrence takes your glasses, somebody pours some water on you.
Yes, Tarzan. I believe that's his name.
Oh, okay. Very statuesque individual. And then there was another video of Jamil chasing you down, or Jamil's there. People are chasing you guys, and it's the daytime. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, you guys are by the bus.
Oh, yeah. Line? Oh, wait. We're also the cameraman, or AC is. We were also the people recording in the bus when the mob of baseball bats walked by. That's because they knew that we were in the bus.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that in the bus footage.
Yeah, no, it's like there's a blurred footage of like a mob of bat wielders walking by, and that's me and AC in a bus, or AC and I, however. You're a fiction writer, aren't you? Isn't grammar important?
Yeah, well, I correct people's grammar and then I fuck it up on my.
All right, AC and I. There we go. Just so we don't have to get into that debauchery.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I think that happened later the day when we were when we were walking to the parking lot.
Okay.
And it was pretty cool. There was like a river, like a magic river that they could not cross because after a certain threshold they just decided not to follow. So I mean, I guess if you're ever getting chased by a social justice warrior and mob, cross the street because it's a quarantine zone.
You should just set your Fitbit to social justice outrunning, and then
it's druidic. It's all the druidic magic. It's a shield that prevents.
Wait, hold on. There was like an actual like running body of water that you leapt over that they could not cross.
That would have been so picturesque and epic, but no, it was just a road. It was pretty lame. But it was a man-made invention, so all the druidic magic had to stay on the other side.
All the ley lines were blocked.
All right.
Was that the day of? And then the last video that I have of you guys that I know of is of, I think it's June 3rd, where like there's the actual assault, where I have pictures of AC's hand is a little bloodied, not much, but he's bloodied, and that's what it's like the Blair Witch footage and stuff like that.
Oh, it's even like. Personally, looking back at that footage, it's like, that boosts the adrenaline levels, man. Because that was chilling, So just hearing the audio, even for me.
Yeah, I want to know, like, so I want to test you. So you're pushing people's buttons, and you're pushing people's buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So are you expecting some blowback from what you're doing? Because you're with people who are writing stuff that is like about keep the campus, like let's go back to school, and you're doing ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
And there's meaning to both of those statements. And then there's this like what I call the pronoun specifying demand-a-mob, the intersectional demand-a-mob. They come through and you know that they're going to overreact. So you're expecting, are you kind of chasing that high, or like what is going on? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to get them to realize maybe?
Like I was saying with that whole laughter corrects morality bit, I didn't think a discussion for like an actual personal discussion where we could actually, you know, try to be productive in some way would necessarily be accurate. To some degree, I wasn't expecting to run into a death squad that day. I was expecting to write a message and get out of there.
Okay.
What I was intending it to be was the absurdity of my message originally was a perfect parallel to what was going on at the campus. It was an apolitical joke made at the expense of these overreactive, inflammatory individuals. If they can't see the absurdity in picking a fight with a guy that's not even necessarily coming with a counter position, but is going completely left field, out into the distance with something that's just completely absurd, I don't think we have anything to talk about, because I don't think any productive dialogue could actually happen. If you can't see the absurdity in taking hostages while you're trying to going on this like fart huffing quest of social justice, equity, crusade, I don't think we're going to be able to have that dialogue.
And who do you think is responsible for that conversation? Do you think it's the students? Do you think it was the atmosphere of the college? Do you think who?
In regards to like the protesters and their behavior, or what are we talking about?
I'm talking about like, well, I guess I might be fishing for a specific answer, but what led to that attitude that is so can't even understand the difference between a joke and like actual white supremacist who actually were on campus when you guys were chalking, like people Heffenweissen or whatever they're called.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So they're like there's actual Nazis on campus and people are targeting you because you're writing something that doesn't make sense, but they can deal with you. Like who? Who's responsible for bringing a college, a place of higher education, to a level of discourse where that amount of dissonance is occurring in the same place? Or is it just the ideology? Have you been thinking about that and processing like the whole social justice thing, or like?
I mean, in regards to Evergreen, the one thing I'm thinking is a lot of times just seeing the footage and the way a lot of the faculty kind of caved into demands. Not only did I think these people had this crazy view just going in, this very identity, ironically so, when I begin to dissect how they're like, nice vape trick by the way, their identity politics, this warped idea of how identity works, and this very, I believe the word I used was iron-fisted view of the world. Yeah. And then I believe the college itself, without a doubt, caved to it. You don't have a president that calls off police after students take them hostage. If there's not kind of like, it's like George Bridges is breastfeeding these very
hungry piglets.
It's insane individuals that have a very sense. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a mix of the way that they, and I don't know all these protesters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it is, some of it is just the way they've grown up, and they've just throughout their life they process this very critical, dark, and grim worldview. But rather than do anything productive or try to figure out answers, they've always felt like for some reason that they were being attacked. But you have this, rather than trying to like explain or have a discussion with them, you go to Evergreen and like I was saying, you're just breastfed, and you get high off that same idea that you've been carrying around your entire life. They support it entirely, even to the point of insanity when you're roaming the campus with bats and taking faculty hostage. You're still caving. Really, maybe it's time to give the naughty children some spanks, Evergreen, rather than kind of letting your campus be swept away in this like just heaping mess.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Dumpster fire doesn't even begin to describe it. So
Yeah,
after
yeah.
I have the police reports that describe what happened at the assault on, I believe it's June 3rd, but like I'll have to correct myself in post. But at night, you guys were kind of assaulted, and apparently you defended yourself.
Yeah.
And then you and AC split up, because I have footage of AC just running, and it seems like he's alone, and he ends up in the dorms.
Yeah, we got split up.
Okay. But you guys reconvened at the dorms? Because it seems like somebody took hostage at the dorms, or was...
Yeah, he got taken to radar, and that's when the cops showed up, and I came back.
Okay.
We got separated. I had no idea where he was for a short period of time.
What's the radar?
I believe that's it's A dorms.
Okay, but it's a recreation room or something?
Yeah, it's a recreation room.
And so was AC like kind of held there, or like...
He was thrown against a door by Lawrence, and then was not allowed to leave. And then the police showed up, and everyone, kind of freaked out. Like, oh god,
yeah,
an adult figure in our lives has finally showed up. Let's act like children again. You know.
So they from the police report, it seems like there was kind of like eventually all the students, or a lot of students, came out and surrounded the police, and I think it was you that got in the police car, or was it somebody else that got in the police car?
Yes, no, it was me. It was me.
What was that like? What was happening before you got in the police car? Was there there's
an angry mob?
So there was a mob, like 20 people,
there was an angry
30
mob
people
surrounding me, yeah, and I saw someone approaching with bats, and I was like, and I got attacked by Lawrence
again
when the mob was like surrounding me. Yeah, he charged me.
Okay, again.
He has a weird obsession with just ramming people, like shoulder checking people. It's like...
It might be, if he was a football player, it might be very useful, but like not in nuanced debate.
You know, it's he has a sort of childlike element to when he uses,
very much. Yeah,
it's tantrum orientated, and
yeah.
I mean, why talk when you can just run into people?
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing someone approaching with a bat, and more weapons being brought in. So that's definitely a reason to give your statement at that point, regardless of what, because I'm not going to, people were talking to me, and one of the
RDs?
heavier set woman in the, I can't remember her name.
One of the protesters?
Very, very proud, looks very, very nice with a bat, very picturesque with a bat. But heavier set, no doubt. Some would even say big bone. I don't know what the politically correct term is, but we're not here to offend people.
Directly.
Well,
not offend them directly, but
I remember I remember something really interesting happened that I've never seen happen before, and that was a person trying to incite rage by crying on command. So that chick, once again, I can't remember her name. She's the heavier set woman that's wielding a bat.
Yeah.
The famous Evergreen choose your role-playing character meme that was floating around for a while. But I remember distinctly during the brawl at Red Square when I was fighting off, she came up behind and tried to grab and pull me back. So I just had a nightstick pulled on me.
Okay.
So my first reaction is I think I'm getting dragged to get hit with a weapon.
Okay.
So I just turn around and I just hook fist whoever's behind me.
Okay.
And it turns out it's this woman, right?
Yeah.
And
you hit a girl.
This strong women and men are the same turns into literally verbatim, Nolan, do you have any idea what you've just done? And just waterworks, super soakers out the pupils, my dude. Just like, whoa, this is like turning into an episodes of Twin Peaks real fast.
Well, actually, the whole thing,
And like, this strong, independent woman could not understand that, in self-defense, sometimes these heated moments when weapons get drawn.
Yeah.
Out of reaction, are you surprised? Especially because I thought you looked really tough when you held a bat. Why are you crying now?
Yeah.
You outnumbered us. But that kind of amped up the mob more. It was like a rally.
It's like a pheromone.
It actually literally was a rallying cry.
Yeah.
I did not think of that before, but I remember just thinking, this is absurd. And dipping out to give a statement to the cops.
Okay. And so what happened to Ace? Go on.
Sorry, no, I definitely have some more interesting stuff in regards to the mob.
Yeah.
They tried to actually use the police against me first. I thought that was extremely interesting. They tried to
at
get
what
the
point?
police
So
to,
this is after you guys were assaulted, and this is back at the dorms?
This is when the mob was starting to form around Radar.
Okay.
They tried to get my footage seized by the police and
Yeah.
have the police remove me from the campus.
Yeah.
That is, given the
But you're a
current state
student.
of events, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a student, but also you can't legally have, police seize the footage off a private phone.
Yeah.
And the cops even told us that afterwards. But I find it interesting that after all has been said and done, you use the police, your self-promoted adversary, the heart of evil, against another. It didn't make any sense, really, that they wouldn't come forward and they tried to use the police to arrest me, but they also wouldn't come forward and give a statement.
Yeah.
I noticed that's like an interesting cluster of details. It's find it odd that you want the police to do something about me, yet you won't explain what it is.
Yeah. You'll sit there holding hands, staring off into the distance is what is in the police report.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's some what is it? Alien abduction, close encounters of the third kind like behavior. There was a crop circle out there somewhere being probed. Evergreen was an intergalactic social experiment. We all did well.
So you after that event, did you bring that to you filed a report, or you filed something, and you eventually contacted the administration and they contacted you?
The administration contacted me after the whole base Chalkman thing kind of broke out, and were like, yeah, your cameraman's getting barred as a trespasser. He legally can't come back to campus.
Okay.
Also, we're placing you under a temporary loss of privilege. They contacted me through a professor, which I don't want to name, simply because, I don't think it's important detail. I'll keep that identity anonymous. But they contacted me using a professor as proxy that I had at the time. And it was super weird that, I was getting, for all this being said and done, I was getting punished for it. And there's something eerie going on here when you're banning a person from campus who was not out there beating up people or using any violence techniques. He was just holding a camera to show how absurd it was getting on the, on the ground levels. And on top of that, I'm the one that gets thrown in a dorm room and is told I can't leave unless I'm actually going all the way off campus.
Really?
Or back on campus. Yep. If you want proof, I think I have an email. I don't know if I have an email, but I definitely have some stuff that I believe I contacted you about being put on like a parole. I definitely have details about that, and we do have the documents stating AC getting legally banned from campus. If you want to see that.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
so you guys were writing chalk on wall and on bricks. And the content of your message was that Limp Bizkit didn't do anything wrong, right? Like
Correct.
Verbatim, like those are the words.
Yes.
You guys your cameraman gets banned. You get put under basically house arrest.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are in the mob are free to go around.
Allegedly, they were on house arrest too. That wasn't the case, though. They were allowed to roam the campus, and they had been reported by friends to be seen roaming the campus still.
Okay, yeah, because I know the leader of the mob and of the hostage taking. He was eventually given.
Sorry, it's just it's Jamil in charge of anything is a funny concept to me. I remember making fun of him for making hand gestures in Radar, and he got super heated. I was accusing him of making microaggressions because he was yelling at me and he was going like that. I was like, you better watch that. That's a microaggression.
Was this before the protests or during the protests?
This was before we went outside and I got taken away by the police to make a statement. He came in. Way, he has a very good way of debating. It seems like the argument gets more logical as he raises his octave. It's like debating a slide flute when you talk to Jamil.
just goes up into dog whistle territory. You're like, I just believe everything you say.
I remember him saying labor because he fetishizes that word labor. That's one of his. That's a labor's my trigger word. So I don't know if you should feel comfortable just throwing that around the place, Mister. But he definitely the range and the plethora of ways he can say that one word. It's like there's something that's actually I'm impressed.
But he was put on the council to revise the student code of conduct. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Okay, so you knew that.
It just...
He was rewarded, and you were basically put under house arrest.
House arrest.
Huh.
I'm not happy, but I laugh because it's just absurd. I'm glad they think Jamil is the one that can really keep it together.
He was put in charge of giving freshman orientation on race the next year.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, and when did you decide that you were done with Evergreen then?
After that was staff and students completely unprofessional. I had no idea, and that's like a hard thing to shake off, man. I'll tell you, if you stand up against a mob at a college, and especially when the campus was catering to it, and also the guy that was and one of the people in charge of the groups that were directly your adversary. Also, he's in president of the council, so good luck. Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm on probation because you can smash windows and you can spray paint on brick walls, saying "fuck Evergreen PD." It's racist. But the second you promote a 90s rap rock band on a wall with chalk, we will push your shit in by 5 inches, to say the least, mister.
Huh.
It's just... it's comedic, man. I laugh because it's just... the sheer stupidity of the whole situation, the sheer absurdity.
There's no way to make sense of it other than
the only difference, Benjamin, the only difference between comedy and tragedy is whether you're the actor or the audience. It's laughable when you're the audience. This is just completely insanity. Really, you're gonna let this progressive Sailor Moon hostage-taking looking motherfucker be in charge of race relations? I mean... Maybe he could be the personal hairstylist, but I wouldn't give him credibility when it comes to politics. Play to your strong suits. Stick to hairstyling.
Yeah, he's a good photographer. I have to give him that.
Apparently, his selfies are not liking his selfies are warranted of calling you a criminal of a hate crime. So I mean,
there's that, but they are pretty good fucking selfies.
They are pretty good. Are they?
You should check out his Instagram. They're
great composure. Is it
it's like a chocolate popsicle. You really want to lick them. I mean, your phone comes away kind of dirty.
I don't know if I want to lick this popsicle. We're gonna get too deep, boys. You're putting me in dangerous territory, man. I'm already stuck up. My hands are tied with Lawrence. I have to kiss at least one asshole at Evergreen still, so I don't want to commit to 2.
So maybe we have to take this out. But you and AC have decided to bring charges against Lawrence and Guinness, is what I heard.
I believe AC is still doing something in regards to charge, but the case is really out of my hand at this point. I think it was more so something about the state, because I know Lawrence and
Guinness or R?
R Guinness, whatever you want to call him.
Okay.
I know the state wanted to do something with it.
Okay. The AG.
It was taken into their hands because, I mean.
So did you feel like there was any way to make it seems like you're just you're fine with it being a statement on the state of national discourse with this stuff, but did you feel robbed at all? Did you feel like you could make a statement or make the college understand the severity of their behavior, or were you just done and you're...
I felt like I said, with the whole the absurdity thing, if I thought that was a big enough statement, the fact that was inciting a violence. One of the reasons is I knew it would be a potentially inflammatory thing. Like I said, I didn't know I was. I didn't go out there to make a video that day, Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know I was being recorded as it was happening. Are
you talking about night, or are you talking about the SEM2 building in the day?
I'm talking about the SEM2 building.
Okay,
I had no idea I was being recorded by AC. I was informed afterwards, so I don't think there was going to be any like substantial evidence or anything of that. It just went down, and I figured in that situation,
it was performance art then for you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I was not I did not know I was being recorded that day. I mean, if they couldn't see their own absurdity and they couldn't see the childishness and not being able to handle a joke and not bridge that communication, I was done with Evergreen at that point. Because if you put Jamil, the hostage negotiator, the PP schedule guardian, I have no business with your establishment. Okay. You are a bunch of children, and I have no time to be when I'm trying to advance myself to take time to work at a daycare.
Yeah.
Because I was open to new ideas, man. I was open to learning, and I'm all about hearing other people's sides because people you don't agree with, they can be a hell of a fascinating person. And, but I do not agree in the slightest with because you interpreted something that was so clearly trying to be progressive and saying this is not a right way, this segregation that this day of absence was imposing is not a right thing, and you're just going to write that off as white supremacy. Obviously, the Jewish guy is fond of Nazis. Like just writing that off so quickly as racism is rather disturbing, and I want nothing to do with that. And my only hope really right now, man, is that one day, and I mean, maybe I'm giving them too much credit. Hopefully they realize how childish this truly was to find it necessary to hold an entire campus hostage, man. Like I said, it's like, I knew some of these people, so I wanted to give them I wanted to give
not
them
the rope
some
to hang
kind
themselves, but the rope to pull themselves back in.
Yeah, I wanted to have some level of respect for them, and just have some shimmer of like hope that they would be able to control themselves, and maybe they would learn how to not be so inflammatory, really, I guess, and that they would not hold hostage over their beliefs, that maybe they could learn how to productively, even if they don't agree with everything that's being said, they'd be able to conduct themselves in a productive manner eventually. And so that was really hard for me, man, because on a personal level, you start feeling really betrayed when you see people that you used to care about holding campuses hostage.
Yeah.
That's one of the sides of the story that doesn't really get out. It's like, I knew some of these people.
Yeah.
And regardless of if they felt like betrayed by me, I mean, I don't mean to sound selfish here, but the second you start holding campuses hostage and wielding bats to try to intimidate people and just bully an entire campus into your submission, I don't think I even want to associate with you at that point.
Okay.
And I remember texting one of the protesters because they went on. You probably heard about this. There was a report when this all was kind of starting off. It was like he got Matt Christensen. I love his bits on the Chalkman incident. Yeah. He's one, honestly, for the Chalkman, I was really a big fan of Matt Christensen's Chalkman videos. I felt like he did the story a lot of justice. And shout out Benjamin Boyce. Of course, you do a great job. But shout out.
But Matt's great.
Yeah. There was a scenario where I was talking to Caitlin Kai Odell, the redhead from the videos.
Yeah.
I knew her personally.
Okay.
And I remember just talking to her one night because it's like after she's gives all these like slurs and it's like, you fucking cis white male, you're sheltered on the grounds that you're a white male and nothing else. I have put you in that box and all you will see the world through is this white male shell that you have. And I was like, dude, I hope you know I don't hate you as much as you hate me, man. Because this is just like it's sad. To some degree, it is sad to witness this. That these people behave. It's like children piloting adult bodies that are too big for them to carry.
I mean, I guess the real tragic thing is like that there are a lot of young people like just experimenting with stuff, but there's these things called cell phones that capture it all, and replicate it for millions and millions of viewers. So you have this small group of people frozen in place in time, probably their worst moment in their life, and they'll have to carry that around, which is really unfortunate.
It's it's like the tragedy. You know, it's hard to give sympathy to the devil, especially when you see the devil holding hostage at campus. You know?
Yeah. So
and it's disappointing in all facets for me. Evergreen. I had high hopes for the college. I really did.
Yeah.
But after seeing that, I had no intention of returning.
Yeah.
I had no interest in associating with any of the people that I used to call associates.
Yeah.
You know, and there are still good souls at Evergreen. There are still people that are just there. People that were intimidated. People that are honest people trying to get their way through college because they don't think anywhere else will accept them. Mm-hmm. And that's another tragedy, is because you have the stain. What is it like? Isn't it like some psychological thing, or there's like a claim that people react to the negative aspects more than the positive aspects? Yeah. Well, once there's like a media buzz that Evergreen is full of goons, and don't get me wrong, there was a disproportionate amount of people that were just there to commit straight thuggery.
Yeah.
It kind of overshadows the fact that you have another group of students that are just entirely intimidated to speak. And I've had discussions at Evergreen with people that didn't agree with me, but weren't violent. Yeah. I had people that agreed with me and supported me too, you know, but those people will never get the time of day to talk because they weren't the sensationalists. That's part of the absurdity aspect too, is because you kind of have to create that theater aspect to it, something that's noteworthy to get the attention, I guess, is another thing I realized quickly. When you have a bunch of androgynous, interestingly hair-colored people running around with bats, that's a gripping story. Yeah. When you have a guy, walking around with chalk writing Limp Bizkit fan messages, that's a part of a gripping story as well, and it's another element that I think was able to
insert itself into the consciousness of that moment. Yeah. So the
absurdity of it all, to say the least.
What was that?
The absurdity of it all, to say the least.
Yeah.
The absurdism, I think, was important to me in regards to it was like a counter-activism, I guess. I don't know. Using humor as a counter-activism. I don't know.
Who's the college campus safe for? For you, a white cis man?
Well, to be fair, there's an angry mob right here that's been assaulting me repeatedly.
Assault?
Assault? Yes.
Do you want the definition of assault? What's the definition of assault?
What is your definition? Let's hear it.
Physically harming somebody?
What's good? Does that meet the definition?
Put that fucking phone down.
AC, stop. Hey. AC, stop. Hey.
Yo, turn that
Bad idea, friend.
You just said you were gonna fuck me up.
I will fuck you up if you don't turn that fucking phone off. Stop the fucking phone. AC, stop.
It's a public campus.
Put the fucking phone down.
AC,
Put the phone down.
Go now. AC,